here with you. There are quite a few of you, so this is always exciting for me. I had somebody ask a question, which is really a rightful question. One of the things that, before we start, I'm going to answer this question. The question was, tell me about level 2. You know, I do all this work with you, and I have no idea what some of this is all about as we go forward. And the question is really good because one of the things that I do not do is sell you this course. It's something that I actually have lots of marketing experience, but it's not something that I really want to do. If this is something you're interested in, this is about you making a decision. But the question was really right. At least tell me about what you're doing. It would be really helpful. So let me take a moment before we start and do some work. The whole aspect of level 2 and Mastering Alchemy, actually all of Mastering Alchemy, really 3 things happen. There's 3 focuses in all of the work over the journey of the work. And the first part is where you're playing. And it's very much about turning your head from the third dimensional reality where we play every day, and all of the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the emotions, the uncertainties, the fears, the aspects of life. Turning your head from holding a focus on this is my reality to that place where internally you know there's more. And so pretty much level 1 is about creating an awareness that there's things that I've always thought that when I put my attention here, I begin to have a relationship with them, a sensation, a comfortableness, an alignment. But level 2 is much more about turning your head from that everyday world and beginning to recognize there's a lot more to you, and at the same time, that external world, 95% of what goes on in front of my face has nothing to do with me at all. Really has nothing to do with an awful lot of my relationship with the world at all. But in order to begin to make that stabilized in a way that you can do it comfortably, there is the recreation of you. For example, this octahedron that you play with in level 1 begins to recreate the antenna that allows you to open up much more of an awareness to the consciousness that's beyond the third dimensional attention point. As you move about 8 weeks into the level 2 work, that octahedron gets reconstructed into the star tetrahedron. It's just the next evolution of the geometries of the platonic solids. And that becomes much more than just an expanded antenna as you go forward. But you also get to begin to recognize that a lot of the thoughts I think and the emotions that I hold are not mine. Thoughts I think are not mine. Beliefs that I hold are not mine. But when they're all wrapped up in the emotions of I'm not okay, it gets very hard in that third dimensional world to unravel yourself from those things. So the purpose of level 2 is to give you a set of tools and point of observation, a platform to begin to stand on that allows you to see the world that you engage in at work, relationship, play, and at the same time begin to have a very clear distinction between I see that, but I'm not of that. I'm in the world, but I'm not of that world. It's at that point that heart alignment, the mental, emotional body begins to recreate itself. You do that, bringing it back into one. It was never meant to be 2 different bodies, mental, emotional. But as you begin to do that, you start to have a different alignment on that platform. Different choices become available. The level 2 program is about 9 months long. You have numbers of pieces of work every week that you get. Most of it is listen, do this, not so much work as it is beginning to experience different configurations of you. But maybe 10, 12, 14 sessions into the work, you start to hear the conversations between me and Metatron, me and Yeshua, Jesus, me, Kathumi, Uriel, Raphael, Michael, Metatron, all of these great beings where we sit down and talk about how does this next step unfold. That piece of work is usually about an hour long. And then there's a lesson that's about an hour to an hour and a half long. So there's about 2.5 hours of focused expansion available to you in that work. So I'm interested in answering more questions about that at the end. But the person who asked the question was correct. I don't sell this program to you, but at the same time, I really need to make a little bit more information available to you as to what the benefit is. So 2 quick more pieces. That beginning level 3 is really about realigning yourself, rebuilding yourself, opening up the brain, realigning that mental, emotional body, beginning to use the color codes, of which we will play with one today, beginning to become conscious of these rays of creation and how you engage in that higher realms of consciousness, understanding how to engage with them rather than just figuring it out on your own. And then the third phase of Mastering Alchemy is very specifically about elevating yourself and constructing that living light body. And it is not an illusionary concept. It is very much a rewiring of the nervous system, rewiring of the brain, opening up the aspects of vibrational frequency, so the body, the mental, the emotional aspect of you, the soul, the oversoul, the Christed oversoul, all part of you begin to be anchored in the physical body and accessing that consciousness. So that's kind of what Mastering Alchemy is in a very simple manner. So I hope that answers the question as a good starting point.